Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all once again for coming out. Clean energy for the culture, presented by Minority Millennials, powered by Vineyard Offshore. This moment, we're going to take an opportunity in this time. This is the logistic part, the people that are allowed to make this happen. I want y'all to put your hands together real quick. Warm welcome, Mr. Blake Hyatt from Vineyard Offshore. Clap it up, 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 clap it up.
All right, so good evening, everyone. My name is Blake Hyatt. I'm the Labor Relations Manager for Vineyard Offshore. The video that you just saw featured my colleague, Andrea Bonilla. She's our Senior Manager for Community Engagement. We like to start off with that video because it puts front and center one of the most important things about this company, right? Our commitment is to equity, right? First and foremost, equitable and inclusive economic development. I joined the company before this. I'd spent 18 years working in government. My most recent role, I was working in Suffolk County government. Some really good friends here in the room that I had really a tremendous pleasure working with, right? And all that work was informed by my own personal commitment to the mission of economic development, right? To the mission of making sure that when we make investments, when we think about growing our economy, that we figure out doing that in a way that brings the community along with us. I grew up in a very working class community. I grew up in a very working class family, watched gentrification happen around me. My neighborhood transformed. The families that I grew up with are no longer there, right? That's because when you think about economic development, it doesn't necessarily bring along the community with it. We're focused on making sure that we do our work and we make our investments in a way that does bring along the communities that we're investing in, right? And so a lot of what I'm going to talk to you about today is how we think about that opportunity, whether that's for folks that are looking for careers in clean energy, or whether that's for folks that are looking to open up businesses and work in this sector. That's a big focus for Minority Millennials. It's a big focus for a lot of our partners here in the community, and that's how we think about selecting our partnerships, is making sure that we're working with folks that have that same focus. So quickly, I'm going to go through an introduction of Vineyard Offshore. If we can go to the next slide. And then I'll talk through some of that stuff when I get to it. So Vineyard Offshore, we are managing 3 different lease areas around the country. Between all those lease areas, we're looking at potentially being able to deliver 6 gigawatts of energy to America, which is really a tremendous amount of energy, right? We are owned by a company called CIP. They're a pension fund for teachers, focused out of Europe, and they're specifically focused on only investing in green energy projects. So it's one of the special things about this company. One of the things I really like about it is that we're very specifically focused on managing the climate crisis that we're all faced with, right? And we know what that is, right? That's a lot more front and center for us here on Long Island, right? We've seen the impacts of it. We all remember Sandy. So I'll go ahead and move on to the next slide. What you're going to see here is a map. Well, this is our team, right? So that features Andrea. That features my boss. So my company is based in Boston. My boss is Jen Cullen, and then Alicia Barton is our CEO. Alicia comes from New York. She previously headed NYSERDA, which is the New York State Agency for Energy Research and Development, right? They're the folks that are pioneering what's happening in our offshore wind space, as well as the rest of our clean energy space. But Jen has been working in this space for a long time. Andrea has been working in this space for a long time. Many of you might know her name from her work in Huntington Station, focused on affordable housing, right? Focused on neighborhood development and equitable development in her own swim lane. Can we move to the next slide, please? So these are our projects. We have 3 different projects that are here in the Northeast. Vineyard Wind 1, it was the first offshore wind project to break ground in America. It's also a very large project we're looking to commission toward the end of this year. And then we have two other areas. Excelsior Wind is looking to bring its power to New York State. And then off the coast of California, we are looking at building an additional wind project. That one's actually very interesting. It's going to be floating offshore. So whereas most of the offshore wind projects that you'll hear of right now, they're built and they sort of connect to the seabed, that one is going to be very different. It's using a sort of technology that basically ties down cables to the seabed, and the actual wind turbine is floating up at the top on the ocean because the seabed is a little bit further away. So, you know, the important thing to think about here is, one, we're nationwide, but two, there's a long timeline in terms of our development, right? That stuff that we're talking about over in California, that's probably out into 2040. That's true for the rest of the industry. So when we think about what this opportunity presents, we're talking about a whole career, right? It takes 10 years to get some of this stuff built. I'm talking to you in 2020 right now. There's wind farms that are going up right now, that are hiring right now. And I'm talking about my company has stuff that's going to be pushing out into 2050. That's not including other companies that are coming up alongside us in this industry. This is an industry with a very long horizon. So we can go to the next slide. So, you know, just to talk a little bit about what we're looking at proposing in New York. The first thing I like to go to is down in the bottom right hand of that slide, 2,000 jobs. That's 2,000 families. That's 2,000 homes where we're bringing a family-sustaining wage into that home, right? That's why I'm here, because we're talking about that level of development, right? Talking about $6 billion of investment into New York is what we're proposing, right? Those are opportunities for local businesses, not just thinking about the local businesses that come in and subcontract with us, but thinking about all the local businesses that then have to feed the folks that are coming in off of that work, right? That have to sort of make the nuts and bolts, that sell just the paper, the printing supplies. There's a whole ecosystem that gets fed by that type of investment. And so when we think about how we do our contracting, and this is something I'll talk to a little bit later, we think about how do we make the most out of that $6 billion in terms of its impact here. And not just here in New York, but here on Long Island, right? Here for the communities that we're working alongside. You know, and then obviously, first and foremost, we need to be thinking about the climate crisis. We're talking about 225,000 cars off the road is what the equivalent is of the amount of energy that we're going to be bringing in. So it's a big impact in terms of what the actual long term is of climate change. Next slide, please. So, you know, I'm going to say this presentation was, I was thinking that we were going to have a little bit bigger of a screen here, and I know this is hard for folks to read. So I'm going to start by saying all of you should write this down, put it in your phone, OSW, Long Island, spelled out, .org, right? That's a website that we co-sponsored with one of our partners here on Long Island. The whole point of that website is to make it easy to see what your job opportunities are, to see what training opportunities there are that are associated to those jobs. One of the things that you'll see on this website is a career map that looks something like what's up there, right? It shows you what your entry level is and sort of what the long term is of your career growth, what the opportunities are that getting a certification in a certain area opens up to you. But what it also has on it, you know, I was talking to some folks earlier tonight, they were asking me, hey, I'm looking for work right now. If you look at any of those individual jobs, it shows you who's hiring right now. It shows you a link to the LinkedIn post or whatever the job posting is. If you're interested in going and looking at that job, if you have the qualifications right now, it's right there, right? If you look at one of those certifications, it shows you what schools are providing it. So you can go and put in those applications, and it gives you the baseline for what your requirements are, right? So one of the things that we really want to make very easy for folks, we want to make it incredibly transparent what it takes to get engaged in the opportunities that this industry presents. Yeah, I'm not going to drag everybody through the details of looking at that chart. You can see it on that website, and I think that that's really the most important thing. We can go to the next slide. Thank you. This is even worse. So when I talk about the opportunities for businesses, right? Those don't just work with our company. One of the things that we've tried to do is we've gone around and done workshops with local business owners. I put this together and I walk through this in detail, right? What this is, it shows all the individual components of our project. The way that offshore wind is built, we think about delivering things in terms of package, right? There's somebody that does the wind turbine. There's somebody that does the tower that supports the wind turbine. There's somebody that does the foundations. There's somebody that does the cables. There's somebody that does the power transformers, right? All of those different things are different contracts. Every one of those contracts has a whole bunch of subcontracts. Every one of those subcontracts is an opportunity for a local business to pick up a job, is an opportunity for a local business to be able to hire folks locally to do that work, right? And so without going through all the details that are up there, what the intent is to make it easy for folks to be able to see this. So, you know, again, this is stuff that's available online. It's stuff that we can make available to folks that have attended this. We'll work with Minority Millennials to be able to make that possible. If you registered, please make sure to register. If you haven't registered, please make sure to register. But the takeaway from this is to see just how much opportunity there is. Every one of those bullets on that screen is a different contract, right? And there's another screen that looks just like this, right? Every one of those contracts has their own supporting suppliers. So what we're trying to do is think about how do we get to the local level with that stuff. We can go on 2 more slides. There's another column in here where you see something different off on the right side of this. There's a bunch of tier 1 suppliers, right? They're providing services that aren't as high level as some of the other things that you see there. The reason I highlight that is to talk about the way that we do business. That whole column exists because of the way that Vineyard Offshore does our work. Whenever we see an opportunity for something that is coming from somewhere else to be done locally, we have it done locally. So for instance, there's one of the contracts that's up there is weather buoys, right? Those are those metal things that are sort of floating out on the water. They've got bells on them in like the movies and stuff like that, right? They let you know, hey, what's the weather looking like? They let you know whether or not there's rocks down underneath the water. But ours are intended to sort of be radar mounts. They're very simple, right? We found out that we were shipping ours in from Europe. We found that out because there was a supply crunch on it. Why? We went and we talked to a local manufacturer, gave them the specifications for it. They said, yeah, we can do that. And that contract became a local contract for our project based in Massachusetts, right? That happened because somebody in our company, my equivalent over in our project over there, got a hold of that and moved that over. And that's something that we look for those opportunities as often as possible. That whole list there is just a bunch of random opportunities that we found where we were able to bring in additional work that happened locally in the community. So that's how we're going to be looking to do our work. But to be clear, all of these opportunities are open now on the projects that are happening now here off the shore of Long Island, right? So part of what we're trying to do here is also break down how this works. And what we're going to be doing is working with Minority Millennials in future workshops and helping small business owners to think about how to gain access to those contracts and where they are with other sort of developers. So look, I mean, I think I'm getting into the weeds here, but the point here is to say down to the T, down to the punctuation, down to the fibers of our contracts, we are committed to economic development. We are committed to making sure that this project and projects like this project present opportunity to the communities that we're working alongside, right? That we are empowering equitable and inclusive economic development. And that's really the important thing here, right? But that means that we need the engagement of folks that are going to be coming in and thinking about, okay, so how do I use that website? How can I show up to the next session with Minority Millennials and be looking for those opportunities? Dominique, can we go to the next slide, please? And so this is our contact information. This is my information. It's up there. Andrea would have been here. We had her video go up first because she's out sick, but she's also, ready, willing, and able to contact any of you. Anybody can take a picture of that. That's my direct contact information. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to Andrea. We really appreciate you all attending tonight. And, look, I think something we want to think about is like, hey, this industry is ours, right? I'm a New Yorker first. I worked in government first. I'm going to be doing what I'm doing right now, wherever I'm doing it for the rest of my career. Vineyard Offshore is really committed to this. We should take advantage of it, right? And make sure that all this investment that's coming in lands here, helps us. That's really the takeaway from our work. Thank you all for your time.
We're going to keep the show going, though. We're going to keep the show going because our two special guests are in the building. They just arrived, so we want to get to that. At this time, we're going to have some energy remarks from Long Island Clean Energy Hub, LIPA, and PSEG. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. Long Island Clean Energy Hub, LIPA, and PSEG. We call all y'all up together. Yes, hey, how you doing, sir? All right. How's everything? All right. Let me help you up, man. Come on up. Yeah. Okay. What the other? Hey. You good? All right. Yeah, you was taking notes. You don't got 20 minutes. I'm gonna let you know right now. You was taking notes. We not doing that today,
These
sir.
notes help me keep it short.
I'm not gonna tell you keep it short, but you ain't got 20 minutes.
Well, I can't help being short. I was born that way.
That's true. Yeah, boy.
I'll keep my
boy,
thing.
you little boy. Clap it up one time, y'all. Clap it up one time. Clap it up.
Hi, everyone. We will keep it short. My name is Augie Ruktashel. I'm with the Long Island Clean Energy Hub. This is by far the coolest event I've ever been invited to speak at and participate in. And like all the other cool, amazing events I've attended and spoke at, it starts with a very overdressed lame white person. So this is right on brand for me. Like I said, I'm with the Long Island Clean Energy Hub. We are educators. We are paid by the state of New York to help people, whether they be homeowners, small businesses, not-for-profits, implement energy efficiency improvements, renewable energy projects, rooftop solar, electrical vehicles. People in the room may be trying to figure out, what is a cheap way to do this? How do I find qualified contractors? How do I navigate tax credits, rebates, incentives? Expecting the layperson to be on top of these things, which change daily, which change with changes in administration, is nearly impossible. That is the function we serve. Those are the services that we provide. So we are your advocates. You want to do that rooftop solar. You are having a problem with that contractor. You can't keep them honest. You can't get their attention. We are your advocate. You're trying to figure out, make sure you're maximizing your rebates and credits. We are your advocate. If you want to take advantage of this transition to a green, clean economy, you're looking for opportunities in offshore wind. You're looking for opportunities in energy efficiency. You don't know what certifications are available. What is Hofstra University offering? Stony Brook University, Farmingdale State College, Suffolk and Nassau County Community Colleges. We will help you make those connections, those linkages. So please stop by our table, sign up for our services. Completely free educational services. We are not invested in one technology and one contractor. I do not earn a sales commission on any services or advice we give. We are your advocates in that space, and we want to make sure you're not left behind, or nobody is left behind, in the clean, green energy transition. So we are the advocates for you. Please stop by, say hello, sign up, and let us work for you. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Louisa Chan. I am the Clean Energy Program Manager at the Long Island Power Authority. We are we own and operate the electric grid for our 1.2 million customers here in Long Island and the Rockaways. And our mission is to be clean, affordable, and reliable. How are we doing that? Well, we are going to be helping to transition away from fossil fuels. And that means thinking about how you, as Long Islanders, got to this venue. You probably hopped in your car and drove right over, probably in a gasoline car. And you may go home to a house that's heated with gas or propane or even oil. And what we're trying to do is help customers transition away from the fossil fuels because those are the two areas that we have the greatest emissions in. And second, we are helping to try to clean up the grid. We heard from Vineyard Wind earlier, who is working in offshore wind, and the Long Island Power Authority has been promoting efforts to bring more reliable and renewable energy sources to Long Island for our customers. So that starts with offshore wind, but it also goes to solar as well as and other technologies like battery storage that will help make these technologies more reliable for our customers. And we have the first offshore wind farm off of the South Fork in federally regulated waters that is already powering the homes of 70,000 people here in Long Island. And we're going to continue bringing those technologies here. And then lastly, we are helping customers be more energy efficient, save money while reducing the use of energy in your home. It might mean changing your light bulb or insulating your home. And we are making efforts to do that through our partner with PSEG Long Island, who is here today as well. And lastly, we are trying to focus those efforts and bring that message to a lot of people who are in traditionally disadvantaged communities. And so supporting efforts like the Long Island Clean Energy Hub, but also supporting efforts like Circuit Transit, which operates 2 EV shuttles, one in the Rockaways and one in Brentwood. To date, they've provided 80,000 emission-free shuttle rides to Long Islanders and people in the Far Rockaways. So these are the efforts that we're going to continue doing. And my takeaway for you today is think about how you are using energy and ask questions and stay informed and seek out resources to help you reduce your energy footprint. And with that, I'll turn it over to Bob at PSEG Long Island.
Thank you, Elisa. Yeah, happy to be here. My name is Bob Borner, work for PSEG Long Island. My title is Manager, Program Implementation and Renewable Energy. Exciting title, I know. I work in the energy efficiency and renewable energy section of PSEG Long Island. Our mandate, PSEG's mandate for the last 10 years or so, working for LIPA, is to provide safe, reliable, storm-hardened energy, greener energy, and that's the part that I fall into. Energy efficiency, renewable energy helps customers learn how to reduce their home energy consumption, or in other cases, commercialist customers, to reduce their energy. Now, what you heard about the wind farm and the greater efforts, we call that in front of the meter. Where I work in, we call that behind the meter. What does that mean? Well, it's you all. If you have a PSEG bill every month, you're behind the meter, and we have several programs that you can participate in. Electric vehicles, home energy assistance programs where they do weatherization. They come in and they do either a clipboard assessment or a full-blown door assessment, and it pretty much prescribes to you how you can reduce the energy in your house. Not only electric, but also, we heat with gas and oil. You can reduce those energies. Electric EVs that Louisa brought, that we have incentives for electric vehicle chargers, smart savers programs. Everybody has a thermostat in their house. We're switching over to the new smart thermostats where they connect to your Wi-Fi. There's incentives for those. So it's pretty much the strategy end of the goal of bringing renewable energy, greener energy to the ratepayers and customers. some of the past initiatives that we've had, great success. We call it, well, really what we're in is we're in the market transformation program, where we want to educate and offer incentives to help customers migrate off a higher cost energy and reduce fossil fuels. So in the past, what we've had is, you'll remember we had transition over to CFL light bulbs. You went into Home Depot or Lowe's, there was an incentive for CFL light bulbs. Well, once everybody had CFL light bulbs, we transitioned over to the new LED light bulbs. And that greatly reduces the cost of your energy at home. Some of the other ones were Energy Star labeled homes. All new homes built today are built to the Energy Star labeled standards, which means they use less energy. Closer? All right, sorry. So,
I told you, you ain't got 20.
all right.
I told you.
All right, I'll stick to the script. Solar PV. When I started 15 years ago, there were 1,500 rooftop solar PV systems. Now there's over 90,000. And that means there were jobs created. You need lots of guys on the roofs to put 90,000 systems up. So along with the market transformation efforts, there were also job creations, which is pretty beneficial. So sticking to the script, kept it down to 3 minutes. If you have time, another half hour, I could speak about how I got here.
There you go, yeah. Clap it up one time.
Thank you all.
Yeah, appreciate you. Going down. Let me help you down. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I want to take this opportunity
Mic check.
to introduce my brothers, the co-founders, Minority Millennials, as well as Policy and Culture. Welcome. Clean Energy for the Culture, presented by Minority Millennials and Policy and Culture, powered by Vineyard Offshore. Put your hands together for my brother, Dan and Drew.
Check. No, I'm not on. Mic check. Y'all can hear me? Blessings. How y'all feeling? Thank you for your patience. Hey, let's make some noise for good energy, clean energy. Let's make some noise.
Long Island, y'all could be louder than that, man. We in a Coliseum. Make some noise for clean energy, man. Let's get it. Big event.
First and foremost, we do want to give a major shout out to our title sponsor and all of our partners for making this happen. Vineyard Offshore. Let's make some noise for Vineyard Offshore that had the presentation. And as well as Nassau Coliseum, the iconic Nassau Coliseum, for hosting this conversation and working and partnering with us on this. Let's make some noise for Nassau Coliseum. So just a quick background on why this event means so much to us and who we are when we talk about policy and culture and minority millennials. Many of y'all know who we are, but if you don't know, we started in 2017, and our mission is to help young people access jobs, build wealth, and become civically engaged. And when we talk about civically engaged, we're talking about power. And how does that power, understanding how politics works, really infiltrate the young people, but into the adults and young adults, that everyone that's in here in this room. One of the branch offs that is Policy and Culture, our media platform, and we want to make sure that our community, our demographic, fully understands the power and how things work. One of the partners and one of the concepts that we're always trying to explain to people is, what is clean energy? How does this integrate into our future? How does clean energy help not only build the infrastructure on Long Island, as many of you heard when the energy companies talked and what's happening, how all these things work, but how are we utilizing energy to build ourselves up internally? How are we using energy to make sure that when we're talking with each other, when we're working with each other, whatever type of emotions that go on, we fully recognize and can handle and process the things that we need to do to get things done. So a lot of times when we were pitching this idea, we're talking about energy, that's not necessarily how you create electricity. We're like, nah. What you don't understand is that there's a lot of energy within our community, and a lot of times we're not learning how to quantify that. We could feel the energy. You can feel the energy in this room tonight, right? Our culture has a lot of powerful energy. When we have our basketball tournaments, massive amount of energy in the summertime. And as you know what's up, you know what's going on, but how do we make sure that we can translate that into positivity? How do we translate that into a wholesome lifestyle? Really creating new narratives within our communities. I'm from Winans, Jews from Amityville, North Amityville. How do we make sure that the communities that we're from that have been underserved and at risk for almost 50 years, as we shift into clean energy, when we talk about actual electricity, our children, our grandparents, our households, our families actually shifts with that as well. And that's the conversation that we're going to go into tonight. We had two very special guests that we follow and really have a high regard and respect for, and that's why we felt it was important. This is a 4-part series. This is the first one. To have these two powerful brothers come here, not only just for this conversation, it's also Black History Month. And so we wanted to make sure that we make some noise for that as well.
And we also just wanted to bring awareness. Let me see that. And we just really also want to bring awareness to Long Island. There's a lot of electricity in our neighborhoods, man. So this a dope Coliseum. We want to use that. This is what we had. And we bringing the influences of our generation just to impact the people that need to be impacted. And that's what's most important. We had a lot of pushback, not pushback, but people didn't understand why we had 19 keys of Jim Jones there. And it's just one simple word: energy. Energy. The influence of that is going to impact more people than it will ever impact with these brothers here putting this word for us with policy and culture. So we excited to have them up here, dance happening, so we here.
Let's get it. So our first guest, first introduction, we have to make sure that we honor both of them and give them the flowers. But our first guest came all the way out here from Oakland, California, is a highly regarded global thought leader, powerful brother is changing the landscape of not only how we think, of how we live. He's breaking down what it means to have a high frequency, high level conversations. Nothing low level at this point anymore for our communities and for our people. In 2025, going forward, we're quantifying every aspect of our life, from energy to business to finance to everything that we can think about. This is what this brother is teaching, not only in America, but across the globe. The things that we got a chance to sit with him last night, the things that he's working with physicists, scientists, is incredible. It is an honor to have this brother. They call him the modern day Malcolm X and James Bond combined. He's an absolute power force. We're blessed to have him here. And it's important that we brought him here to Long Island. A lot of times when we bring artists, it's to New York City, the boroughs, Queens. No, we're from Long Island and we wear that proudly. We have a lot of great energy and historic icons from Long Island. So we want to make sure that we bring these brothers here. And without further ado, please, let's give a high regard and applause for the honorary 19 keys.
We're gonna walk through that fire though. Everybody wasn't born to make it through. Those who do, that's because they thorough.
Peace to the family, peace to the family.
They trying to rain like clouds. It take a special kind of soldier to take off. It take a special kind of soldier.
How y'all doing today? How y'all doing today? We low level or high level?
Let's get it together first.
We low level or high level?
All right, well, let's have a high level conversation, man.
Next up, we introducing the Capo, man. This is big for our era, our generation. His influence through music, through fashion, penetrating through entrepreneurship, coming out to Long Island and tapping with us at Boulder Mac Park, really bridging the gap with the kids, staying the whole time for the games, man, really pushing the culture. We all a fan, man. He started off on his way to church, man. He dropping them all at the church steps, man. So y'all give it up for the legendary, man, Jim Jones.
Remind them who you are. What's up?
Jimmy Jones.
Yes, sir.
I want you to know one thing. Jimmy Jones. Static selector. What you have to say about it?
You gotta remind them who you are.
How y'all feeling?
Remind them who you are.
How y'all feeling?
Remind them you a star.
How's everybody doing? Can y'all hear me out there? What's up, 19?
We got to turn the mics up a little. We got to turn the mics up.
Pretty good.
As we mentioned, it's definitely an honor to have both of you brothers out here, especially in this season right now, kicking off 2025 with a lot of energy that's going on in society, from politics, from global, from geopolitical, but most importantly for us, a lot of energy that's going on right now in our culture. Specifically, Jim, you kicked off the year, probably absolutely one of the most relevant with regards to conversations, just music, everything, impact, and your historic, at this point, 3-decade run, and one of the most difficult industries to be sustainable in. And 19 Keys, again, as we said, is an honor to have you here. So when we talk about clean energy, I just want everybody to understand we're combining what that means for not just electricity or how energy works, but again, what a clean mind means, what a strong mind means, what a healthy lifestyle is, because it's very important for us to really understand how this all comes together as a community and as people, as artists, entertainers. So I just want to give the first question to 19 Keys, because when we tried to explain this to people, a lot of individuals didn't get it. We sent the idea to 19 Keys, and he came back with the most eloquent video we've ever seen about how to break this down. And specifically, you said, when we talk about clean energy, it's about how do we have harmony within our environment. And you emphasize the importance of aligning with one's environment and how adopting clean energy practices, particularly with urban settings, and understanding the impact that it has on our mind and our bodies, and just in general from things like emotions, jealousy, envy, hate, distraction, all the things that go in that we don't understand is actually energy. Can you just break that down a little bit about what made you think about harmony with the environment when we talked about clean energy?
Yeah, well, first of all, we live in a world where we would tear down the earth to build things on the earth, right? We extract things from the earth. Like if you look at what's going on in Congo to make our cell phones, it requires slavery just so we can communicate to each other. That's an idea of dirty energy. Clean energy is innovating in a way to where it just makes human lives better, right? Without having such a heavy cost. It's like somebody having to rob, steal, and kill to get into position, right? They had to use a lot of dirty energy to get where they at, right? So later on, what you try to do, you try to clean your energy off. The culture is built off a lot of dirty energy. You know what I mean? It's not always positive, right? We know a lot of it is negative. So we end up having to transmute that energy. The goal becomes, when you talk about living in harmony with nature, that's like indigenous practices, right? Indigenous people found ways to create what they call regenerative farming, right? And regenerative energy practices, meaning that the energy that you put in, you're able to get that same amount out versus having to take more and more and more and not being efficient with your energy, right? When you're negative and you're hating and you're jealous of one, that's bad energy. Right? It requires some time to convert that into something positive. So we live in a culture there where we had a deficit. Fear is a negative energy. We trying to get over that so we can think from a victor mindset. But as long as we think from a victim mindset, then we go lose. So even when we look at Black Wall Street, he had a positive mind, O.W. Gurley, to take that 40 acres and building that up to 72,000 people. It was positive energy, right? But then those who didn't want to see us build on our own and be sovereign, they destroyed that. Now in 2025, the way we look at that is negative, right? So anytime we think about something positive that we've done, there's now a psyop for us to immediately be fear-based, like, oh, we can't do that again, they go destroy it. No, the reality of it is that there's been many men and women who've built that weren't destroyed. So survival says that find the thing that's the biggest threat and magnify it so it can't harm you. So it's like when you see a negative comment, man, it's gonna get on your nerves, even though every other one was positive. But from a survival mentality, I'm gonna magnify that just in case that's a threat. But the reality of it is that when you have a victor or a wealth mindset, then you think from a different place. You're not thinking about just immediate threats, you think about evolving and not surviving, right? So as a culture, discipline is clean energy. Respect is clean energy. Honor is clean energy. Doing for self is clean energy, right? And we talk about cleanliness. What they say, cleanliness is next to what? My brother Nuri Muhammad say, no, cleanliness is godliness, right? When we live clean, we think clean. We have our lives in order. A lot of us got motion, but ain't got no order, right? Having motion can be chaos. The order is what organizes it. If your body can have motion, but if it's not in order inside, you become sick. So clean eating, clean living, clean thinking, that's when we become a clean people.
Keys, I wanted to tap in a little bit further. It was something that you said as far as like just environmental factors that go into play in that. We was talking about nature bathing, city living versus, suburban living. I think that's like very important to tap into so we understand like the factors of that as well, because that plays a big part of energy as well.
Yeah, I wrote that in my first book, is just was thinking about this idea that mental health is breeded in cities, right? We call these our homes, but our first home was nature. We learned how to live within nature, forest, and eat the herbs of the nature, and that regenerated our cells and our activity. Like, you're supposed to eat to live. You don't live to eat, right? So the idea is that when you live in harmony, like most of us, New York is concrete jungles. Y'all don't even get to see a tree sometime. You know what I mean? It's a little different. I like Cali. We got palm trees everywhere. You feel me? It's good energy. But the reality of it is as a people, we need more sun, right? We got melanin, so our skin conductance is harsher when it comes to taking that energy and converting in it. Just as melanin is clean energy. Melanin takes harsh radiation from the sun, right? And then it converts that into useful energy. That makes us a resilient people. But when you eat food that doesn't have clean energy in it, your body has overspent energy trying to pull energy out, and now you're in a deficit. So it's like going to eat soul food and you get the itis, right? You in the streets and you trying to survive and you moving around, and most of your energy is spent just to survive, not to thrive. So now you spending your whole day trying to get over trauma, anxiety, and fear because you broke and impoverished, right? That's dirty energy. So if you want to live in harmony, I think that beyond going to like a therapist, I think you need to go to nature. You know what I mean? Take your shoes off and ground. You feel me? You can't be too gangster to hug a tree. You know what I'm saying? Relax. If we can smoke trees, we can hug trees. You know what I'm saying? It's clean energy. So I look at it like we are people out of harmony because we were made based on the way the city constructed us. We were made, we're there Frankenstein. Frankenstein was a made monster. He was the one who made the monster, but they Frankensteined us to be like them. When we come from places of living in harmony with the land, you have a healthy people, you have healthy family dynamics, you have a people that live in peace according to having the same values and code. But when you live in an environment where, everything is about give, take, I'm in competition with you, then you got to eat to kill. But when you come from a place of abundance, then you think about thriving. How can we be in harmony and get along with each other, right? Wealthy people don't think about just making more money. They think about sustaining what they have, right? So that's sustainable energy. But if you don't have nothing, you have nothing to sustain. And right now, the little bit that we do have as a culture, we're trying to sustain that, but it's not worth keeping.
Capo, this for you. Sustaining success in hip hop and business. You always evolve. You maintain like a prominent presence both in the music and entrepreneurship field. What key factors have contributed it to your longevity and success in the industry?
A lot of prayers. After prayers, hard work. When you can't stay motivated, you gotta stay consistent. You're dealing with a game that's forever changing, so you gotta know how to reinvent yourself in a lot of different ways. And you gotta know how to use the music to make business. For most of my career, I knew how to make money. I didn't understand the concept of making business, so that's what I've been concentrating on lately. As far as the music, you gotta have a real hunger to be doing it this long and still elevating at your game. I can't say it's something I did on purpose, but what I did do on purpose, I know I want to be inside of this game and to maintain a success level that I would like to have. I knew I had to be a dog at the music, and that's what I concentrated on. And just stay down, man. Went through a lot of trials and tribulations. I went through a lot of failure. I took all those L's and turned them into lessons. I figured out how to turn most of my negatives into positives. Started taking a different mindset of how I looked at the world and how I looked at myself. I'm a person that wears my emotions on my sleeve. So I started to learn how to really curb that. That helped me out a lot. And I got this thing where I say, you won't know till you grow. I was young and I was dumb at one time. And through the trials and tribulations of my life, I learned how to really get to the place I'm at right now. Everybody's going to have a different path when it comes to their success, you know what I mean? So I won't say what I've done will work for you, but what I can say, if you stay down and work hard, I think that it's going to work out on whatever your path may be.
And And Jim, you know, we talk about the urban setting, a concrete jungle, and a lot of the stress factors that come in that type of environment. But if you think about everything that you've made it out of, you almost a definition of how you make it out of that environment and had a huge impact on probably everyone in this room, including myself, from the early 2000s, early days. And can you talk a little bit about how you're able to manage or recognize, I think it's very key, bad energy situations, or how from the environment you're able to develop that keen sense to navigate and to continue to grow and be successful coming from an environment where every factor is putting on either pressures, stressors, and blockades the individuals to climbing that ladder to success, not even just in the hip hop industry, but just in the environment in general.
First, I told you I'm a God-fearing man, so my moral compass is always a bit different in the street. And then I came up in the street, so, you know, I had the best of both worlds is what I could say. I think that's what helped me get here through a lot of bad energy situations. You can't spot the devil all the time. You know what I mean, that's why you got to stay prayed up, and, you know, God gonna guide you. I got this thing, time don't lie, and a lie can't tell the truth. And it's something I live by. But it's hard. I mean, I can't say that there was one thing that held me together, but just me knowing being a good person at the end of the day was something that got me here. Because I can't say I always been a good person, but there was a time where I was doing a lot of bad things. I was taking up a lot of bad energy, and it didn't feel good with my soul. You know what I mean? And God knocked me down from whatever pedestal that I thought I was on to I thought that I would be, I didn't think I would still be here, you know what I mean? And that took a deep understanding of where I was and what it was going to take to get back. And a lot of that was being a good person. And a lot of that was making sure that I gave more than I took, because I got a chance to take a lot of my time. So that's been my mission in my past few years.
Love it, love it. 19, yeah, give it up, give it up. You know, we were talking last night just in general about the future, and it's big right now because Long Island as a region, we're right here by the Atlantic Ocean, and so they're building these massive wind turbines, and we're pretty much working with them to help educate our community about how this can be not only beneficial with the workforce, building these turbines, but also at the same time bringing in clean energy so that we're not dealing with environmental factors like asthma and all the different things that we have within our communities. But when you talk about the future and the ability to navigate and evolve, and as you said yesterday, shift, energy shifts, to really get ahead of the game with the information that we now know, can you talk a little bit? They say that the #1 skill set in the 21st century economy, the attention economy, is the ability to focus. Can you talk a little bit about what an individual really needs to develop that discipline and that wisdom to understand how valuable focus is right now?
Well, you can't do nothing without it. Literally, there's nothing you can do without focus, right? All your attention becomes scattered. We have an attention economy. We got more information than ever, but we have little focus now. So therefore, it decreases your will. You just learning this, that, and the third. You intaking things, you scrolling, but nothing means anything. All you're trying to do is be stimulated, and what that does is that's an artificial stimulation instead of executing. So instead of actually getting something done, I'm going to scroll and just make myself feel good, right? So most of entertainment today, it doesn't require thinking, right? When it requires thinking, your brain gets stimulated, you get activated, right? You actually grow and evolve. You live longer the more you learn. But a people that they know will be distracted can gain no traction. I can give you the greatest tool. I can give you the greatest AI. I can give you Sonic, Claude, DeepSeek, Grok. You can take these billion-dollar tools, but if you ain't got no vision and you ain't got no focus, then you ain't a danger to nobody. You know what I'm saying? It's like giving a man a gun that don't have no aim. You can shoot, but you ain't gonna hit nobody. And you definitely not gonna hit your target. So we have the tools, but we don't have the focus. And the focus comes from having a plan, right? And having a militant mindset. It's the militant ones in our culture that really created change, right? Progress got to look like ownership, not just civil rights, right? We can't just say, oh, they took away another right. Oh, well, our ancestor built something, they burned it down, so I'm not going to build something. That's cowardly, right? No, a man knows how to take a thought from the beginning stages of just being in his imagination and be willful enough to go step by step through every act of the process, right? Regardless of how difficult it is, and see it all the way through. If you can't take an idea and go through the process, you can't consider yourself a man, because a man is one who manages his energy to get things done, right? We've been a people who've needed other people to manage our energy for a long time, right? The accountants steal from us because we need them to manage our finances, right? The lawyers mess us over because we need them to manage our contracts, right? The music industry get messed up because they manage the industry, right? We've started off as slaves and they manage the human bodies so that they can build up their wealth. We go to their colleges and they focus our energy through their ideas and they manage our intellect. They then fund our organizations and they manage us through ads and say, gatekeep if this person is not safe enough, which means anybody that challenge us, make sure you don't fund them, right? So we've been overmanaged for a very long time. And the goal is, how do we become independent, right? How do we cut them out and just do for self? Because this is what, look at what China do. Anytime America say China can't do something, they just create their own and compete, right? If they say DEI, we don't want black people doing something. All right, well, we ain't gonna shop there. I bet y'all gonna want us to come back when y'all can't get our dollar. The most powerful thing we have is the black dollar. If we was able to concentrate that black dollar, we can build anything. Decentralization is like the dream of a revolutionary, saying that regardless of what they try to do, we can create our own parallel systems. That means that we focus all our energy on us instead of them. Right now, we take all our energy, our time, our resources. Look at Martin Luther King. He realized that all that energy he was putting in marching, he could have been putting in getting money, right? He said, man, goddamn, we go get what we want, but shit, niggas gonna integrate in the burning house. And the house is burning right now. We smell the smoke. It's hot in here. You feel me? So the goal now is not looking at the dream of Martin Luther King. You have to be awakened and say, okay, what's the next phase? Because he said after civil rights comes black power. Well, what's black power? It's ownership. The last model, working model that we had of like economic power that was focused was the Nation of Islam in the 70s. When they had all the ideas that we would say we want them to have, businesses, airplanes, restaurants, right, security force, anything you could think of, they had it. A $500 million empire. But we go all the way back to Black Wall Street because our energy is scattered. Are you a Christian? I can't celebrate the Muslims. So we just take them out of history. But that was the last working model. White people don't do that. If he white, we go celebrate him and learn from him, and then we go take that and evolve that system. So we too fragmented with all of these different identities within Black America, and we not focused. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a so-called boycott that's supposed to happen. But you can boycott Target, you can boycott all of these things, but the idea be more so focused that boycott anything that's not good for us, right? Anything that's not good for us, we just done with you. You gotta have conflict in order to win a war, right? Kwame Ture said that it can't be no peace without liberation. How you a slave, you wanna be peaceful? You gotta wanna tear some things down and challenge some folks and create some conflict, but we keep trying to go along to get along. So the Al Sharpton era is over. They don't have the solutions. They don't like when I say these type of things, but I don't care because what they doing don't work. They don't even know decentralization. So you get up there and have these old conversations about old tactics, but we in a new war. We in a more complex system, so you have to let the new generals lead. And these old bootleg organizations keep our energy scattered. So no matter how much noise we make, just like Black Lives Matter, that could have been focused economically to where we could have just focused all that billions of dollars instead of saying, let's go get more jobs, let's go create more businesses. We didn't do that. We keep asking instead of taking.
Capo, this for you. I heard you say being a rapper is the most dangerous job. Stress factors of being a rapper. The music industry is known for its pressures. How have you managed the stress associated with being a rapper, and what other advice would you give to emerging artists?
Um, when I said that statement years back, being a rapper is one of the most dangerous jobs. I just meant that for me actually being in the field and going through the motions and what I was seeing. And then a few years ago, there was a statistic that it's 50% like it's 1 to 1, like for every rapper there's a rapper that dies. And I don't know if that's the same statistic, but that's shows you how dangerous it is right now to be a rapper, and what we've seen in the past few years from so many high profile rappers that we lost. RP Takeoff, one of my favorite guys, and things like that. And it just goes to show how dangerous it is. Like every time we step out the door, 9 times out of 10, we don't know who's who, but everybody know who we are. So that puts a target on our back off top. So sometimes it's scary when you're moving around like that. And I say prayers, and I pray every day when I go outside that I make it back home, because I know it's not promised that things can happen and stuff like that. I mean, and for artists that are coming up in this game, I mean, I urge you to be responsible out here. That's all I can say. I know every man must protect himself. There is a line of discriminate, line of, I mean, what's discrimination? Yeah, line of discrimination. But you know what I'm trying to say. Don't cross the line in the sand. You know what I mean? But besides that, I think every rapper should be responsible. It's a tough game. It's a young game. These youngsters are aggressive out here, and I'm not here to impose my will. Like, you won't know till you grow. So who am I to tell them exactly how they should live? But I would say they should be more responsible out here. I mean, and not saying that we shouldn't have been responsible, but I'm a little bit older now, and I look back and was like, wow, we was way wildin'. So I mean, it's kind of hard for me to paint the kettle black, being the teapot, painting the kettle black. You know what I mean? But for the most part, I encourage all these creative young souls and young minds to get in this game. There's a lot of money. This game is one of the games that could change the life that you live, and hopefully change your family's life forever. I've seen that with my own eyes. I'm one of the people that came from the bottom. I'm a project kid that was able to figure out the matrix, and a lot of people ask me why do I visit so frequent to my hood. I'm not visiting. That's my community, and I appreciate being the beacon of light I can be for them youngsters coming up, because I know how hard it is to come out. So when they see me, I'm hoping they see a chance at life moving forward and things like that. You know what I mean? I do this for numerous amounts of reasons. Rap was a way for me to get out, and I spend my time giving back to my community just for the things that you said of how dangerous it's out here. Like I'm from Harlem, and Long Island is no different. They're going through the same thing that so many hoods around America is going through. You know what I mean? So I think we need more people like myself to get out and speak more positive. These kids that coming from the same place, so we understand we're more relatable than a lot of people and things like that. You know what I mean? So that's my take on it.
I love that. One thing that both of you have in common is this concept of a healthy lifestyle, but more so physically healthy. And we see right now, currently, we've lost a couple of icons and legends in the hip-hop game. But in general, our community at times, especially our demographic, is dealing with a lot of different health issues, from diabetes to early onset of strokes, heart attacks. I mean, me and Drew run a basketball tournament. Drew runs Boulder Mac. And since what, Drew? Since 2017, how many young dudes have we lost under the age of 40 from heart attacks? Playing on the court. It's just a lifestyle that goes from whatever it could be, from drinking, smoking, not living right, stress, all the different things that go on, just trying to maintain and stay ahead, providing for your family, pursuing your dreams, trying to get your ideas out there, and just the different things that go on. Talk a little bit about, we mentioned before I had that gold water, and just the different. And why is it so important? Jim, you always say on the gram, like, I got it in today, no matter what. I got it in. And that's almost like a discipline factor, right? It's a mindset to make sure I get it in no matter what. How important is it not only to be mentally strong, but physically strong, internally, not just muscles and how we look, but internally?
Mental and physical is the same thing. I mean, they both balance out. And being strong as a man, I would hope every man wants to be strong. We're dealing with society where they try to knock the man down, and I come from a society where being masculine was what a man is, you know what I mean? And you're here to protect the family and take care of the family and things like that. And it's the natural fountain of youth. If you plan to live a long life or as long as you can, then naturally being in shape is going to help you do that. But what I can say about dieting is we come from a culture where we eat a lot of the wrong foods, and even though the food tastes good, 9 times out of 10 it don't be good for us, and that was something that I had to learn. Even now, like I know I've been working out all my life, and I'm in great shape, but due to my diet before this, I was diagnosed with pre-diabetes, and you would never think that it could happen for how much in shape I am, but the diet is everything. That's what's going to help you live long. So I had to reverse my whole diet and teach my body a new way of living and breathing because I want to be here as long as possible. So when you talk about diet and how important it is and the things that he was mentioning about just being natural sometime and grounded and hug a tree and doing all these things and being outside. So I don't know if you watch, I work out a lot outside for the benefits of getting that fresh air. That helps you out a lot when it comes to being in shape. So, you know, I do encourage everybody to get up and get in shape. I mean, if you're trying to be out here, this is things you need to do, especially for people that are successful, making money. You want to be out here old and can't spend the money because you're sick and you got to go to the doctor all day. What good is that? You know what I mean? So.
Sustainability. 19, definitely want to hear. And talk a little bit, if you can, about gold water. I take it every day, so I feel like it's helping, but just how important it is for a healthy mind, healthy body, and the internal factors of strength to sustain in this society.
It's everything. Ain't no woman want a weak man. You gotta at least be able to pick her up. You know what I'm saying? Like I think at first level it's like physical, right? Just being able to work out, you can drop and do some push-ups or some squats. The thing about like the gym, I like it because everybody in there equal. They all going for the same thing. You feel me? It's the one place where you can tell anybody in the world to work out and there's no excuses. It's not a financial excuse. It's nothing. You can work out wherever you are, no matter who you are. Heart disease is like the #1 killer in America. You know what I mean? And it's because of what we eat, right? Processed foods. And our foods is terrible. The problem is that we don't care enough. We don't care enough because we don't love ourselves enough. And again, it goes back to survivalist thinking. If you think about evolution, you think about longevity. So what I eat matters because I want to be here for a long time. I want to be here to spend time with my children, to spend my money, right, to enjoy my legacy. But if you are part of fast culture, man, you think, shit, I might die by 20. You ain't thinking about, you know, how you gonna feel when you get to 20 years old. Then you actually live and you're like, damn, I done spent the last 20 years poisoning myself. Let me get myself back together, right? The average person is walking around with parasites. Parasites affect the way you think. If you got low energy, you got a bad mood, you got a bad attitude, right? So therefore, people don't want to be around you. When you become physically fit, people actually have more confidence in you, right? They see a man taking care of himself or a woman taking care of yourself, that gives you an edge in life. So the thing about the gym is something in our brain called the mid-singular cortex. It means that this part of the brain is activated that increases willpower. So when you do the thing you hate, right, that's when it grows. So today, this morning, I worked out legs. I hate doing legs. So I said, let me start with this first. Because if I start with that first, everything else is easy, right? Going back to people don't care, no matter how much you tell a person the truth, if they don't care, it won't set. Right now, I can tell you a bunch of health truths, but you're not going to listen to me. And then a lot of those truths, to be honest, man, if we tell those truths, then it destroys the way we make our living, right? So if I tell you that no amount of alcohol is good for you, you're going to be like, all right, Keys, you lost me. You feel me? But this ain't my science. So it's like you talk to people who's ready because you realize sometimes you're wasting your time talking to people who don't care. So it's like if you want to be there for your children, one of the biggest reasons people die, you get old age, is falling over. Right? You start to develop muscle atrophy. If you don't use it, you lose it. But it's shown that physical exercise continues to grow the gray matter in your brain, what allows you to be young and useful and learn new ideas, right? So every day, you should get in at least 15 minutes of exercise, right? With the Marines, they figure out a way to do what's difficult by just getting started in any capacity. Meaning that you say you want to run a mile. Well, maybe just start with 5 minutes. And every day you build a little more and a little more and a little more, and every day you become more willful. Because you might get up there in 5 minutes and be like, damn, actually, let me do 10. Then the next day you're doing 20, and you build it up. But the goal is to get started, right? I trained in case I need to slap somebody as I move around the earth. You just never know when there's a slappable moment. I always think about when Nipsey slapped bruh from back here. You know what I'm saying? He was prepared. He had to do some push-ups that day. don't complain, train. You feel me? It's a tenet of masculinity to be physically fit. And then as he said, it's really the same thing from a mental standpoint. Because you need to be mentally tough as well to deal with life. So when you're in the gym doing things you don't like, then when there's other tasks throughout the day you don't want to do, that same part of the brain is just as strong to get that done instead of procrastinating because it's too hard. That's emotions. That's when a man is too feminine. I don't feel like doing it. Yeah, because you soft. You know what I'm saying? You in your feelings right now. You a soldier. You got a general give you an order, say, we need you to go take care of this. I don't feel like, you don't feel like it. No, I mean, you get beat with a bag of potatoes while you sleeping. You feel me? Straight up. Like, I come from Oakland. We had the FOI brothers. They was a little crazy. You know what I'm saying? So a brother come in there talking about he don't feel like it, he might get hands and feet put on him. You feel me? And all of that was really to build up this toughness because you realize those things you don't feel like doing doesn't mean you're not capable of doing it. You feel me? It's just that we become so feminine that you in your emotions, right? When that's supposed to be overrid through logic and willfulness. I don't feel like doing it, but that's not going to stop me from doing it, right? If a woman didn't feel like getting pregnant or delivering a baby, then none of us will be here. It's the most painful thing you can go through. Right? It's called the crowning phase, or they call it the ring of fire. Like she got to literally die to give life. So I feel like as a man, you have to be willing to go through pain in order to make progress as well. Right? Don't seek comfort, seek challenge. That's when you know you being a man. Do the very thing you don't want to do and watch your life change because you living based on your comforts, and comfort corrupts.
We got about 2 questions, but I did just want to let's make some noise for the ladies and the sisters in this room tonight. Very powerful ladies, like you said.
I want to keep it on the energy. Capo, I heard you say something in an interview before you was down in Hawaii. You was telling Cam, man, yo, I just feel it, man. Something gonna go on today. And we try to, tap in and explain the different form of energy where it's just not, we talking about the wind turbines, we talk about robbing the earth, we really talk about the feelings, the harmonies, knowing what's going on in the environment. So recognizing and managing negative energy in both interactions and business, how do you identify and navigate negative energy to maintain a positive trajectory in your career?
I was blessed with a knack to turn a lot of my negative situations into a positive, as you can see how my year started with so much in the media, and I was able to twist that into my favor. It depends on how you look at it, man. I mean, I'm a person that believes in energy, and good energy and bad energy. I mean, hopefully you bump into some good energy, but if you could see the bad energy, that gives you a chance to stay away from it. You know what I mean? Prevention is way better than solution. So I try to keep that in mind when I'm moving around, you know what I mean? So, but it's hard, you got a lot of finesses out here, a lot of people that, there's a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing out here when it comes to energy, because everybody has their own ulterior motive, especially with people like us that has success, and people think that we got money and things like that. So they do a lot of funny things to get next to us until they can, show their true colors. And that's another thing. It's always hard when you do put your trust in somebody or open a lane for somebody, and then they end up showing their true colors, and they was somebody that you didn't think they would be. And that could cause a lot of confusion also. And then, but you gotta stay focused at the end of the day. We talk about discipline. That's one thing you gotta do, and that's one thing I've learned over time, is not to crash out. Like, Like, I would crash out over the minimal thing, the smallest amount of thing I would crash out over, and I had to learn to get it didn't serve me no purpose. I was actually doing a disservice to myself because everything that I had in good favor has started to disappear for me from me just overreacting for things that I could have just got around by, you know what I mean, thinking a little smarter and being a little bit patient and things like that. So, you know, these are some of the lessons I had to learn in my time, and I'm just glad that I'm be able to apply these things now, and I didn't X myself out by, I mean, doing all of these things.
Mic check. There we go. So we only got a couple minutes. We wanted to finish off with some high positive energy because Jones is a very big day tomorrow. And like we said, you started off this year with a lot of energy, good, bad, whatever people could say. But you focused in, you tunneled in that energy. Now you have a major drop tomorrow. So can you just talk about a little bit tomorrow, what's dropping, what everything was going on?
Yeah, tomorrow my album drops. My album drops at 12 o'clock. It's called At the Church Steps. This is my 20-year anniversary to my first album, which is On My Way to Church. I feel like, thank you.
I'm not on the album, by the way. I was supposed to have a verse.
We're gonna
Hey, Keith,
get them on the next one.
we found a couple of verses, but in our research.
But I feel like when I say I'm at the church steps, I feel like in this past 20 years, it's, you know, even longer, but I feel like I've navigated that much closer to getting closer to God as far as with my faith and things that I've done in the past. So, you know what I mean? I still got a lot of work to do, but I feel like I'm that much closer to him and hope I could get even more closer to him and things like that. You know what I mean? God is good, man. So
Yeah, amen. Let's make some noise. Let's make some noise.
I got to make sure I pray, man. But if you hear any of my music throughout my career, you know, it's a lot of spiritual aspects of my album because, like I tell you, I'm a God-fearing man. I believe that He's kept me out of harm's way for so many situations and things like that. So just to be able to be here right now, we going on 3 decades, but for my solo, it's like 20 years later, man, it feels good to still be out here giving good energy at the level that people still fucking with my music and things like that. So I appreciate all the love, like to come here and see all you people here. That shit is heartwarming to me to know that people still checking for me like that. You know what I mean?
Facts. 19, leave us off with some powerful 2025. What you got going on for this year moving forward?
Man, it's just takeover time. You feel me? We got books, we got movies, we got decentralized projects. You feel me? We got a lot of people we got to get out the way. Man, it's just takeover time. You feel me? We got music, we got everything. You feel me? Like everything that I feel like is a misrepresentation, I'm going to represent it myself. My mother used to always tell me, stop complaining and just be it. So I'm just on that type of time with life right now. You feel me? Because I ain't getting no younger, but I am getting better. You feel me? And so with everything that I'm going to do while I got a platform and I can leverage it, because again, like you said, negative and good positive energy is needed to power you up. No battery in the world works without negative and positive energy. A problem a lot of times with people is they just focus on the negative. Like with my brother Jim, we done been on several stages talking about crypto and blockchain, decentralization, all kind of stuff. They don't ask them questions enough. So they give them an opportunity to talk about something that can be considered negative, but then we got to throw that back on the media sometime because y'all want to play up something negative so you can get attention. That's the way the game goes. Most rappers and entertainers are doing something positive, but they know it ain't going to get the clicks. You feel me? And so therefore, they're using that as a moment that they can convert because they know how to convert negative energy to something positive, which goes to their pockets. You feel me? But in life, I do the same thing, all right? There's people that want to use my name to get them some attention. You feel me? I get to decide whether I want to give them some or I ignore them. It's all strategic. Some things that come positive, some things come negative. I get to convert it. That's my power. You feel me? As a God, I don't care what you come to me with. This year, we just converting all energy. You feel me? Y'all got y'all playing with it, but I got my own. And I always taught God is the best of planners, so I don't give a fuck what the devil doing.
Let's leave it off for that. Let's give him a round of applause. Clean energy for the culture. That's our time. Again, we just want to give a shout out. Thank you to Nassau Coliseum, Vineyard Offshore, and thank you to all the beautiful, positive energy that was in this room tonight. Again, let's make some noise for 19.
Make some noise, man. Make some noise.
Ladies and gentlemen, on your way out, please be safe. Please be safe. Big shout out to 19 Keys, Jim Jones. Big shout out to Drew. Big shout out to Dan. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, be safe, be safe, be safe.
I'm from the middle of the piece, right in. I had them billies throwing bees, up in. Remember bagging all them bricks, right in.